Hello, Christopher. How you doing today?
How you doing, David?
I'm doing good. I'm out here on the road, so trying to get this thing to work.
Moving around on the coast. Yeah, well, I'm hoping that our recording here is going to be good. I was getting a little hesitation there, so we'll see what happens. But you're headed from La La Land northward, so how's the trip been so far?
The trip has been good. It's been a lot of driving and doing readings along the coast and hanging out with people, and I'm glad that we're here and able to do this right now.
Absolutely, yeah. I love that whole strip of the coast there, and you're doing it with a really nice trine in water as we progress into the weekend here. So that's going to, open people's hearts up. It's going to be a period here where we're getting a little grace after a couple of rough weeks for a lot of people. So I think your trip is going to have some really interesting high points that you can relate to us later on.
Yeah, I mean, especially as we start this week, we've got now the Sun in Scorpio. We've got all this. We've got the Sun and Mercury, which are coming towards Saturn in the North Node. There's this squeezing happening, and it's the Sun and Mercury, which is our identity, our understanding, our thought processes. So there's a lot of our personal information really trying to get to the bottom of this Saturn Scorpio energy, which is the work. I think there's a lot of work for us all to do in developing the Scorpio energy of uncovering emotions inside of ourselves, uncovering, our truth, uncovering our desires. And so this can be a really happy time if you're feeling like you're narrowing in closer on what maybe the frustrations in your life are, because you at least are becoming more aware of them. I think the universe is giving this as a window of opportunity for people to see the truth in their life and see where they can adjust their life. I think this Mars and Virgo energy is here to help adjust things, and all while we're closing in on getting down to the nitty gritty.
It absolutely is. It's meat and potatoes time, and so when you have Mars in a solid Earth sign and starting to trine Pluto up there in Capricorn, that's very grounded energy, and that can give us a lot of kind of practical attitude going on in our life. Whereas in the last few weeks, we've may perhaps wanted to go off and do a little bit of a evade and avoid some of the realities that we're having to deal with. Now we're getting more of a grounded energy where people are feeling like, oh, we really need to stop and create more of a sense of solidity and stability. So you're going to see that over the weekend. And you're going to see these little sparks, I think, from Venus fluttering around like the butterfly over there in Sagittarius. Venus is wanting to run away and play, and so it's a nice, balance of different types of energies that are carrying us through the weekend and then into November.
Yeah, we got the moon in Leo this weekend, which is going to square all this Scorpio stuff. So there could be, this block on happiness if you haven't figured out the workload, I think, into identifying the Scorpio realm of maybe what's coming in between your happiness, which is you not connecting truly with, either desire or not connecting your energy correctly or investing your energy in the right places. I think this can be a weekend where you realize, you know what, I'm not happy doing this. This is not what I'm happy doing. I'm more happy doing this. I need to connect my energy to this. So this could be a real eye-opening weekend, especially as Mars and Pluto trine, to take action now to create the change of the structure of your life by really paying attention to your happiness, paying attention to, what's blocking your happiness. Because this moon in Leo, as it trines Venus this weekend, there's this wanting to go play like you described, big time. But the Scorpio energy is very truthful, it's very raw, and there is a naked, raw truth that's going to hit you in the face of what comes in between your happiness and maybe the raw truthful that you have found your happiness. It could come both ways for those that, again, are putting their energy in investing it in the correct space.
Exactly. Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that they've arrived. I think that's one of the inherent natures of the human experience is that we're always on the quest. We're always wanting to go here, go there, move forward, and a lot of times, if we stop and really evaluate where we're at a specific space and time, we suddenly come to the realization that, hey, everything I was trying to achieve is right here. So perhaps instead of this frenetic desire to just do something, go somewhere, maybe I should relax for a while and enjoy the things that are manifest in my life. So yeah, there's definitely that kind of a earth, fire, balancing out and payoff kind of energy that's coming up over the weekend and into next week.
Yeah, because we do start this week after this fire energy. I think we get real deep into the Scorpio story and there's going to be a lot of action, especially as the moon, will leave Leo, come into Virgo, conjunct Mars, all while the sun and the node meet up in Scorpio, and Saturn and Mercury conjunct in Scorpio. So we start this week very serious, very ready to act in the right ways of adjusting life off, I think, the lessons we learned off the weekend and maybe the understanding of what we want to commit our energies to. And Mars and Pluto trining. And this is also the week where Pluto and Uranus do their exact square. So I think deeply there is a powerful message of this week of getting our thoughts directed correctly, getting our actions directed correctly, all about this Pluto-Uranus story, which is, in many ways, it's a breakdown in many people's lives into reconstructing your life correctly into more of the correct structure, into a new identification with the self. And, it tests courage. It tests your plans, too. And I think this is going to see this week, for those that are putting that work in, that solid energy, that investment energy in the correct stocks, this can be the week you start to see that payback. In other places, this is kind of like a Wall Street failure kind of energy of, oh my God, I invested in the wrong place and I need to redo everything. I need to take my portfolio and reinvest correctly.
Yeah, it definitely is a major life opportunity here for self-awareness, self-observation, and for really evaluating what your commitments have been all about up to this point in time. And then that with all of this energy going on in this trine aspect, as the moon is moving out of Cancer into Leo with the beginning of the weekend, we're going to see Chiron and Neptune once again drawn into the spin. And you're going to have kind of a residual energy floating around of what is the deeper meaning of all this stuff? What is it that I am doing that has any effect on my spiritual evolution? Am I planning for a life beyond this life? Am I looking more deeply into those states of awareness as to what my true identity is, what my true function in this world is? So there's definitely a certain amount of inner effort and pondering all of the different things that are happening to us as we move through these various other energies, and especially, as you mentioned, that square between Uranus and Pluto.
Yeah, I think you nailed it on the head with the deeper meaning. That Chiron energy is really trined up nicely. With the node, with the sun starts to make a trine. We got Saturn, we got Mercury. All this party all gets close this week, but it's leading towards a solar eclipse by the end of this week. That's what I think. The reason why I think you nailed it on the head is what is the deeper meaning? Because when this solar eclipse comes, it's a really big liftoff point, and this is a unique one with a Mercury retrograde. So this one gives us a different perspective of our deepness. This one gives us a different perspective of, especially because Mercury and Saturn are conjunct throughout this whole entire party, a real serious look at our truth, a real serious look at directing our energies or investing it correctly and understanding that deeper meaning. Because for the remainder of this week, it's just a buildup I see of, the building up to a solar eclipse. And this is a very powerful one because it's happening with Saturn right next to it. It's got Mercury on top of it. It's got, all these deep connections to Chiron, like you say, the healing, Neptune, the deeper spiritual meaning to all this. And Jupiter, even though it's not in a tight trine, is still in Cancer direct. So there's this feeling, there's these new opportunities we have to open our lives and open doors in new directions that bring us more comfort. And it's kind of interesting that the moon, goes through its dark phase by the end of this week, and it's going to happen in Libra, which is a very happy, chill sign. And in many ways, this is work. This is not time for Mai Tais on the beach this week. This just does not have that ring to it. And I think a dark moon in Libra, especially on a build-up to a solar eclipse in Scorpio, it's about work, it's about investments. This is about, being in your suit on Wall Street and setting everything right so you have dinner on the table for your life, or you have everything that you want in your life. And, you can't do that hanging out in the hotel room or sitting in the lobby. This really requires you in your life, especially as Mars trines Pluto during the solar eclipse. And most of this week is like, it's time to put plans into motion. It's time to readjust your life. Mars does oppose Chiron this week. And be careful in the actions you take, because if you're not taking the actions based off healing yourself, based off the compassion energy, especially as you're going for your truth, fixed energy in Scorpio can be a little selfish. And, I think you're going to have to make sure you're coming still from a spiritual place throughout this whole process.
Oh, absolutely. And that's one of the things that, we always get from that tale of the scorpion, is that if we don't do what we're supposed to be doing in life, the scorpion is one of the few that can actually do damage to itself. It can sting itself to death if it is affected in a malefic way. So, the scorpion energy is definitely something that, with the moon going into renewal, it is going to absolutely intensify toward the end of the week. But in the interim, there is a lot of illumination that's sitting right at our doorsteps here, and I think that's really the whole point of passages like this, is that it's all about us recognizing our own truth and coming to terms with the fact that we've been acting out of that truth for a long, long time. So a lot of interesting interaction, and I'm really liking the
Halloween. It is Halloween this week, and it's a very deep internal Halloween with a dark moon.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I'm liking the fact that we're moving into Samhain and trick or treat. Are we going to trick ourselves, or are we going to give ourselves a treat in life? And we're really at that crossroads by the end of the week of having to make a commitment as to how we're going to treat ourselves over the coming times. So it is going to be fun.
Yeah, let's see what the cards have to say.
Yeah, I kind of had to stretch here to grab my cards. They were a little bit off-center.
This is our unique show. I'm in a hotel room. We're both still, you're kind of sick, I'm still kind of sick. This is our unique show.
Yeah, it's kind of a loop in time, I guess you could say. I've got a tremendous head cold from hanging out with a bunch of Boy Scouts, interestingly enough. We had an Eagle ceremony Sunday, and Monday I started to feel like, one of those kids was Typhoid Mary, and I didn't realize it. So anyway, we're starting out this coming week with working on our value system. This is a page of coins. This youngster is looking at life and trying to determine what is it in my life that has value and what does not, and then being willing to discard the things that are a distraction and start moving in the direction of the things that you do have attracting you in life, that are meaningful for you. As we go through the weekend, Seven of Swords, and this is a cautionary card. It's not like a paranoid card. You know, there is a distinction here. But this is merely saying, you know, we've still got some square energy, we've still got some oppositional energy floating around, and you can't just be, you know, approaching things with absolute wild abandon. You have to be mindful, be aware of where you're at, what you're doing, and what the long-term benefits or malefic effects could possibly be. So being mindful as we're building to this new moon weekend is a very important part of this passage. As we move into the beginning of the following week, we have the Ten of Cups, one of the wish cards. A lot of wish fulfillment, I think, is available here. Simply within that idea of discovering that we've already attained that which we have been trying to attain. And we've just been so busy and preoccupied that we haven't stopped and evaluated that and realized, you know, a year ago I wanted this or I wanted that, and all of a sudden it's in your life now. So a little bit of gratitude might be appropriate. And then with the renewal of the moon, as we were speaking about that dark period before the moon renews itself, shedding the old fears, shedding the old apprehensions. Nine of Swords is about, you know, coming to that point in life where we realize that a lot of things that have been our trials and tribulations are things that are self-inflicted. So being able to discern that and get into that Scorpio mode of digging deep, pulling out the roots of the weeds, and then embracing that new cycle of the moon moving forward along with that solar eclipse. So it looks like a really intense week in a positive way, not in a, oh my God, you know, the demons are chasing me down the lane kind of way.
Yeah, especially that's got a Halloween ring to it. But it's the week of the in-between eclipses. And I think that's, you know, I was in Mount Shasta yesterday and feeling the power of that mountain, but more importantly, I was directly with the sun on the western horizon just staring at me. And, you know, you can feel that the Earth is coming into such a sensitive spot. This is where the eclipses happen. This is where the Earth, you know, the reality is in a very sensitive place. And there's a lot of karma involved. There's a lot of destiny. There's a lot of arranging for it. So we're all kind of on the train in between the next station of karma and destiny. It's a very weird place to be, and it's a beautiful place to be. So go along with the ride, go along with the flow, be mindful, pay attention, you know, listen to your insides, because when you get off this train, there's a lot to go to.
Yeah, it is kind of like the Disneyland experience. Once you're in the park and able to get on some of the rides, life is really exciting. So give yourself permission over the weekend and during this coming week to enter into that that activity, that action, where you're getting the rewards in life that you deserve. So, I think that's probably the big final epiphany of this particular dialogue for us, David, is to, you know, to recognize that you have worked for a lot of this stuff, so enjoy it.
Yeah, I am. That's why I'm doing this in a hotel room, and took, you know, a week off readings, and oh, that's not true. I did readings in person, but I'm enjoying it. You know, I'm learning to, and you know, for me, all this energy is on my Saturn at 9 degrees Scorpio. I mean, the solar eclipse is building there. Mercury's going to retrograde over it. The sun's going to conjunct it during the lunar eclipse. The North Node's been there. I mean, this is all on my Saturn. Even though I'm a Leo that has to have fun, it's interesting for me. This is really sober, you know, spiritual work, and I have no problem doing. I signed up for that, so.
Yeah, I think all of us are ready to get past the, you know, the cross-bearing and all of the limited divisions that we've been having to address for a long time, and perhaps do like the phoenix, you know, go through its cycle of rising from its own ashes. And the phoenix is one of the symbols of Scorpio.
It is. It's the eagle rising. And, the eagle's been associated with Scorpio since all the ancient time. I'm surprised. how it's left that note so much. And I think you and I have been bringing that up for, the 9 months we've been doing this.
Mm-hmm.
There is an eagle to rise in all of us. And that's why when you see Scorpio, they actually look like an eagle, if you really look at it. It'll trip you out the next time you look at a good Scorpio person. You'll be like, that person's an eagle.
You can definitely see it.
Yeah. And of course you can see the Leo over here, the lion laughing. But it's so funny. I think that the eagle, you nailed it. And I think for all of us, this is the work to fly. And you've got to get your inside together to fly correctly and be dedicated to the flight. That's one thing. If you're going to jump off the nest and off a tree, like, you got to invest all of your trust. You got to invest all of your energy into, okay, universe has got me. I've got myself. I'm dedicated. I'm going to fly, and I'm going to kick butt at this. And so it's work.
Yeah, and to have fun with it. To just, know that everything's fine.
Yeah, it's all going fine. The universe is in heavy support mode through this time. We're not going to see crazy governments. We're not going to have FEMA camps. Everybody can be pushing fear with the Scorpio realm. Gnarly. The truth is the universe is doing a huge solar eclipse on Saturn. I don't know anything more supportive than that, with Pluto sextiling, and as Pluto's coming up to its 12-degree mark quick here in the next month and a half to support a lot of this same energy. There's too much support, so don't be in fear. There's no need for that.
Yeah, the conspiracy theorists and all of that, they're about to be outed, is my belief. I mean, it's a lot of these people actually feed on other people's fear, and we're getting to the point where everybody's slowly arriving at that space of, oh my God, get over it. I've heard this too many times, and I just, I'm not going to go down that road again. Yeah. So yeah, this is a big breakthrough time to get past your fear, get past your paranoia, embrace life, rejoice in life.
Well, thank you so much, Chris. I'm so glad that we got to do this, and I appreciate it. I know you're sick, and thank you. And I can't wait to see you next week as we get ready to go deeper into the eclipse. Next week's report, we're going to talk about that eclipse pretty intense because it happens on Saturday.
It is going to be very exciting and very dynamic, and you have a safe journey, David, and we'll be talking in 1 week.
I will, sir.
Great.
Take care.
Take care.